Just you know a little bit more about us. My surname Muwowo can be difficult sometimes to pronounce, but the best way to remember it is just like a noisemaker, just whoa, whoa, whoa. That's the surname. So I'm married to Phoebe. So I got saved in 1970, and she got saved in 1975. It was at Lusaka Baptist Church, that's where I got saved. And my wife got saved when one of our elders was preaching at the nurses' conference. We got married in 1978. We got 5 grown-up children and 7 grandchildren, right? I have to make sure my wife has the facts. Yeah, we thank God that all our children and those who are married, they have married believers. So our children are saved, and the 4 who are married the believers. So we thank God for that. We are a cross-cultural marriage, really, because I was born in northeastern Zambia. My tribe is called Tumbuka, and then her tribe was called the Ila, which is in the center of the country. And I didn't know her language, she didn't know mine, so we met in English. My family were in a town where there was a nursing training school. That's where my parents were. And then she came to do the training, and then we met in a Christian meeting within that particular town. That's our background. Now, I went in finance I did a mathematics degree and used it for auditing. Yeah, I worked for Deloitte, and it was called Deloitte Haskins and Sales. I'm fairly ancient. It's now Deloitte and Touch, which is, it's basically the same company. Auditing and finance, 13 years. Then I was a pastor for 10 years in Zambia, before we relocated here, where I worked for Friends International for 10 years, reaching out to international students. Throughout all these changes, my wife has always been a nurse. No change. Hopefully retiring very soon as a nurse, yeah. Now, it is when I was doing pastoral ministry that we were involved in church planting in different places. When we planted a church in a rural town, we found it difficult to send someone there. When we planted churches within Kitwe, the elders around were able to run the churches. But when we went to a smaller town, there was a challenge. We didn't have someone to send. So the idea of setting up a training institution came up. And when sabbatical, I came and did the 1-year course and went back to Zambia. But it's only when we relocated here that the college was born in 2016. After, with my fellow church members, one promised that if you are serious about setting up a college, I can, sell a house so that we can begin the college. And that's exactly what happened. And 2016, we began this college. We're using the Cornhill kind of syllabus, it's a 1-year training course. It's all to do with preaching, trying to teach people how to preach. Because that's the critical thing, The word must go out as it is, of course with prayer. So now, just give you a feel of the slides that we have. So training preachers, growing churches. We need very gifted expositors of the word for the church to grow. I remember I went to a church where I got saved. This minister had sat under Martin Lloyd Jones here, and he came to Zambia, and his preaching was so convicting that I remember one time somebody couldn't even stand up from the pew because of the power of the word until they got, to know the Lord. So, anointed, expository preaching is critical in terms of people's eyes being open to the gospel. So that's why we think if we train the preachers, the quality of church members, as well as the church planting is going to grow. So it's numerical as well as, the quality of membership. Now, 2023, we had at least 16 graduates. It's a one-year course, so they finished, and we met together to celebrate in terms of, they had finished their training, right? Now this year we have 19 students. We have the ladies, they're not going to be pastors or church planters. They are there to make sure they teach the story of Abraham properly in Sunday school or to the women so that they can see Christ in the Old Testament. I mean, you're familiar with the people like Sharon James in this country, who will speak to like 5,000 women, the women's conventions in London. So we want some of our women to learn how to teach other women, but they must know what is actually in the Bible properly if they are going to help others in the country. So these are the names. Now here we might have 20 because Ernest dropped out in the first week, but the rest of them are still there. I said we are sort of like 10 miles out of Kitwe in the north. We've basically taken out 50 acres, which is 20 hectares of land. We bought this land, we've got title for it. So we've got academic block, where there's classroom, library, computer room there. We've got a hostel for students. There are 3 houses for lecturers who stay there. We've got some admin, a blog. We've even got some sheds for chickens. I'm trying to grow chickens, although that has been a bit of a challenge. So we've got a bit of farmland, you know, for growing things like maize. Zambia's staple food is maize. We grow maize, dry it, pound it, and make ugali or chima, or what do they call it in West Africa? You know what you make from maize meal? Right. So at the college we don't buy the maize because we grow it. When the students actually go in the fields and actually go and work and so on, and that cuts down on the costs. We've got other things like ablution block. So it's a sort of a well-contained, place. So the students really, when they want to go to town, it's got to be organized. Like when they are attached to churches, we've got transport to take them to the churches in town, so that they don't just wander around in the shopping malls instead of studying. Keep them away from there. All right. So the syllabus is very much a Cornhill-like. When we talk about the Bible overview, we want to see from Genesis to Revelation, how does the Bible fit all together? What kind of literature is in the prophets? What about the wisdom books? I mean, just the whole Bible, how it all fits together. It's not just having your special books in the Bible, but we need to have the whole scripture. We need to learn everything. And of course, Christian doctrine is critical, like special systematic theology. How we minister, the church ministry, the history that we have. We concentrate on African history from Augustine to now. Ethics, that's engaging with the world. We have to deal with things related to Zambia. In Cornhill, in London, we are not talking about poverty and HIV/AIDS and so on, but in Zambia we do. There are certain issues that we need to deal with, pastors need to be aware of. We deal with that. And then just the whole, basic principles of preaching. Making sure that you analyze a passage. These are the handling skills that we give. You analyze the passage and see what you can bring out, from there. That's a lot. We spend a lot of time in that. We've got a library. You've got a book on preaching that you like to donate to the college. We'll appreciate that. Or reformed thinking, Bible dictionaries, or where you've got commentaries that are useful for explaining the books of the Bible. That's very very, very helpful. Now we've got the key staff members. The 3 at the top are the faculty, and then the other 3 are the administrative. Now these are critical to the survival of the college. It can't function without having lecturers. And also having an accountant, administrator, and site manager. We need these. Now these are not the only people. We'll have cleaners, we'll have a cook, we'll have the guards. So they are supervised by the people down here. Now why I say this is critical, this is where we seek your partnership in terms of making sure those people are there. I'll give you an example. You can have 2 or 3 churches, for example, to sponsor one lecturer. Say let's take the vice principal. That's actually the salary per annum. And if you have got 2 churches, this is an example of 2 churches, so they would share the 4,000 each. Now, there's one church in Kent. What they've done is they have asked if there can be 20 volunteers from the church. The church has more members than 20. 20 volunteers, if they give £10 per month, they'll be able to raise 2,400 per annum from the members. And then the church would add on 1,600. And that's where they can be able to sponsor, that lecturer, the vice principal. This is like having a missionary. You have your own missionary. Here, a faculty member can be one of your missionaries from here. You come and visit, you interact with them, especially with social media today. I don't know whether there's a team here that is organizing a trip to Zambia. Right? It would be great to have a team that will come and visit. I think in March next year, we have a church in Dulwich that is going to have a team to visit Zambia. It's only when you visit that what happens at the college, that your passion, as it were, grows. So that's just an example there. We're trying to have the college have solar because the hydro power is always giving us problems. I usually say that the Queen opened our hydro power, Kariba Dam, in 1955. But that's not sufficient now because the industries have grown. But then we have plenty of sun. We are not doing as much, solar. We need to solarize the college if there's such a word. At the moment, it's just a bit of it. So we're still we're seeking resources to do solar for the college. My role has been more to do with the writing to trusts and foundations, making these church partnerships, and finding maybe individuals who can support the work and organize some fundraising, events. Got a table there. There's one interesting gadget. It's called a card reader. Now, if you want to donate and don't have cash, no problem. There's a card reader there. We can be able to, they use Bluetooth and things like that anyway. But it works. You can make various donations. Now, these fundraising events, for example, we have a dinner to organize on the 4th of October. We have a dinner at London Beach Hotel in Tenterden. And this hotel is amazing. When you spend money on the meal, they take that money and actually give it to the charity. Right? So you enjoy yourself, have a meal, and then you are supporting, the work of ministry. We can give you more details. But one of the best things for you to do is, if you go on our website, if you just Google Proclamation Zambia, if you Google, on the first page at the bottom, you can actually sign up for a newsletter. And the newsletter will give you information every month. There's one that comes out, about the things that we are doing. Yeah, we organized this ministry in such a way that we have a team in the UK and we have a team in Zambia. So the Zambian team is mostly the managing of the college, the principal and so on. And the one here has been more to do with fundraising. So recently I've got some friends in America who have registered another one, but it's not yet functional. They don't have a website. We are looking for volunteers to help in some of these teams. Yeah, now, I think I wrote this a while ago, these prayer requests. If you've got a newsletter, there will be quite a list of prayer requests that are very current. But this is fairly standard, that we need to pray that the students may grasp the teaching, the Bible in its context. It's a challenge to many of them because they come from backgrounds. Some of them their backgrounds are not very good. And that the lecturers will explain the scriptures very well. Then we also need the resources to run the college. It's not cheap. Comparatively, it might be cheaper. £8,000 as a salary for someone. Here you say, oh, that's not a London salary. But for Zambia, to raise that 8,000 is a challenge for us. We need to pray for our alumni. In fact, that's the one we want to go to next. What am I doing?
It's a different question.
So if we get to the next slide, then we'll be able to look at what happens when the students graduate, the different things that they do. Just a little sample, one from each academic year. Okay, so that's about the graduates there. The first one we have is a girl called Cecilia Mumbi. This girl is an orphan. She wanted to go for training at a Bible college. She couldn't afford the fees. And when we came across her, she came to us and somebody sponsored her. And there were 11 students that year. She was the only girl in the class. And she was the best student that year. What she did was she went to train further, a degree. Like when you do Cornhill, a lot of people here after Cornhill they go to Oakhill, especially the younger ones. If they say, yeah, I'm going for ministry, so they go further studies. So we have George Whitfield College in Cape Town, where she went. And after I got her BA in theology, she's now coordinating the student ministry in universities. Just like UCCF here, we've got Zambia Fellowship of Evangelical Students in the country. So she's a national, coordinator in the country. Moses trained with us in 2017, and now he's also got his own story. He was a very brilliant boy. He got a place at university to do engineering, but his father died. He didn't have the money. He didn't get the bursary, so he couldn't go to university. But he became a Christian. When we came across him, he came to us, and I know, one of my bosses in Friends International sponsored him to go and train at PIZ. He finished that training, and then he went to he did a degree within the town, the Baptist University, Central African Baptist University. In a 4-year degree, he did it in 3 years, and he still got a distinction. And then he's been working with the church, and he's now a junior lecturer. I think you may have seen him on the faculty list. So we are very excited that one of our own graduates is now a lecturer. Just pray for him. Oh, there's another interesting thing. One time I was doing a presentation in one of the churches in London, and there was a lady who said, I want to go and attend your conference in November. We usually have a conference in November. And so she came to Zambia, attended the conference, and met this man. And now they're married, and she's gone to Zambia for good now. So ladies, be careful when you go to Zambia. Then this year, the young man, he came from a Reformed Baptist church in the northern part of Zambia. He trained with us. He did the internship at the Water Baptist Church in the capital city. And then the Faith Baptist Church in Kitwe, there's a sending church for him to plant a church in a very rural place called Nchelenge, where this Mweru, a Baptist, near Lake Mweru, which is fairly near Tanzania, somewhere there, up north Zambia. It's very rural, but the work he's doing is amazing. I just saw some pictures yesterday. He was having a meeting with young people, and he attracted them to some food. Like, come and have some food, and sharing the gospel, with them. You can't go wrong with food. Hospitality. Each one of them has a story. This one came from a church that was not very strong on Bible teaching. And when he came to us, he gave a testimony. And I think the lecturers thought he was saved by what he said. But it's when he came, it was discovered he wasn't saved. And so, as they were sharing the gospel in their first week, in the first week they spent a lot of time with students to make sure, where their position, what their position is like. And the young man got saved then. And with the zeal of a young Christian, he learned quite a lot. And the principal was in touch with the church in Scotland. Chris was the principal then. He was in touch with the church in Scotland, the Tron Church. And so he came and did his internship in Scotland for 2 years. And now he's back, in Zambia. We are eyeing him for lecturing very soon. One of those, and he's also doing some further studies. This one came to us as he was a pastor, and then he basically improved his preaching skills and went back to his church. Now, Copperbelt is a province. Zambia has 10 provinces. Copperbelt is in the northern part where there's a lot of copper. We mine a lot of copper in Zambia. So this young man is a coordinator for the same group like Cecilia, but only in the province. Cecilia covers the whole country, but this one is concentrating on the Copperbelt. He's a very good Bible teacher. He came to us with a degree in education, a BA in education. And then when he learned the skills of preaching, he's been very useful now, reaching a lot of university students in the Copperbelt area. There's a number of universities and colleges, there. This one was a very good student when he graduated. Now he's going to do some further studies in George Whitfield in college. He started in January. And this one was the best student in 2023. He's also wanting to study some more. So now, what you have, I think that should be about here. What you have is the younger people, once they have said, they've caught the vision that I think this is what the Lord wants me to do. Then they want to improve their training. Well, they've got the Bible handling skills, but they also want, a bit more academic. That's how they do, this BA in theology, either within Zambia or in Cape Town, and then they get back into Zambia to do the ministry. We have one who has just come back from Cape Town. He's doing some internship again in Lusaka, with Conrad Bew at Kawata Baptist. We trust that the Lord will use him mightily, in the country. There are others who come who are already pastors, just improve their skills. There are some who have gone into church planting. There are ladies who deal with a lot of young people in different, places. You still have, one or two others, who, even though they went through the training, they're not really applying it very well. There will be others who get back into their churches and use the skills that they have. So there are different things that have happened to 128, graduates. Now next year, we hope to have 2 streams, first years and second year. This will be the first time we want to do a 2-year program. Because we want to have a bit more time, with the students. And also a requirement, from the government. For accreditation, you need to do minimum of 2 years. So that the government is basically wanting us to do that. Now our prayer is that we may raise enough resources, because it means we need to have an extra classroom. We need to expand our dining We need a little bit bigger bus or things like that, a little bit of expansion to be able to run the 2-year program. Right, let me stop there. Some things might become clearer if you have questions before we have a time of prayer. Anybody wanting some clarification?
You mentioned that the water dam, the hydroelectric, being a bit of a problem. Just how much does it actually currently impact on the teaching and the running of the college? From your prayer letter, it sounded like it was very serious.
In fact, the seriousness of it was is it a month ago? The whole nation, they said for 8 hours, they were what they call load shedding or rationing electricity. So they would cut off this side, and then this side is okay, and they do that. This month, I think they have reduced from the 8 hours cut off something like 4 hours. So now the students were just doing their last exams before the end of term. The first term ends the first week of April. And one of the students was mourning that, when I want to revise at night, and then there is no power, it has an impact. And then the laptops, we haven't done a lot of solar. There is a section where the administrators are, it's working, even when the hydropower is gone. But there's still a section, like in the hostels, where the students want to use their laptops and things like that. It can be a challenge. They will take some solar lamps here and there, but it's just not the same. They can't use all their gadgets because of power cuts. So we are praying that we may raise, I think it's about £15,000, so that the second phase of solar, can be done. We only need the first part, but we need to do the second part. Then the college will be, we're not dependent on hydro, power. Yeah, but it's a national problem, because over the years our leaders, I'm not becoming political now. Our leaders should really have taken on solar, as much as possible. I mean, we hear Germany has excess solar. They don't have as much sun as we have in Africa. But somehow the political will to do solar for the country, we need it. But for over 50 years we haven't done it.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
I'd like to ask 2 questions.
Yes, please.
Are you looking at attracting international African students? That's the first one.
Yeah.
And the second one that is tied to it is the accreditation. The accreditation that you are looking for, is it just for Zambia, or will make it a little bit
Okay.
to cover
Yeah.
a number of countries,
Yeah.
so that should we attract international students, then they will not just, they will be able to go back to their countries and still be recognized.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So we are open to other countries coming in, but we need to sort out the accreditation issue, because when international students come, there are these visas everywhere. When they are going to study in another country, they will say, "This course you are doing, right? Is it accredited?" Otherwise they don't give the visas. So that's part of the plan. At the moment we only have some refugees from Congo who are actually resident in Zambia. There are a number of them that have been able to come to the college, but they are still just using what they have back in the refugee camp, in Zambia. But their long-term plan is to go back to the Congo when, things are all right. Yeah, we will definitely be opening it up as much as possible to other, African, students. The gospel in sub-Saharan Africa needs to be rooted in good Bible teaching, not just in Zambia, but all over the place. Yeah. So I think by next year, we should be able to sort that out so that other students can come from other countries without any problems about study visas here.